Okay. Yeah, so we are Shibuya Eder Architects. We are a Japanese-Austrian architecture office based in Vienna. And tonight we would like to show two of our latest projects. And before that, we would like to introduce some spatial difference in Japan and Europe. In the Japanese traditional architecture, the outside space and inside space are more connected. And and there is quite often very small garden where you just look into, and the nature is more coming inside. And compared to this, in Europe, outside space and inside space are more separated, but you have a very protected and cozy inside space with a very thick wall, and outside space is more generous and can be a very nice meeting space and so on. And this is the first project we want to show. It's a school. We won this competition last year, and the construction is starting next month. It's a high school in Lower Austria, and this is how it looks from the top. And the building is 2 stories high, and we have the concept that we make on the ground floor many small courtyards, and on the upper level we make a European type of big courtyard, and we mix it on top of each other. And this creates a very interesting outside space in the building. And here you see that there are 2 levels of outside space in the building, and students can have a break between the classes and on the terrace, and there are many places to sit down and it offers different spaces. And this is a ground floor plan. You see lots of different courtyards. Each courtyard has a different theme. So in one courtyard you can eat outside from a canteen next to the pond, and then in the other courtyard, which is next to a chemistry class, and like an experiment can happen in the courtyard. So it's also supporting like a new teaching method outside. And always there are different visual connections in 2 different levels. And if you also walk inside, because of the courtyard, like in this section, that the sunlight comes to every room, and you feel like you are almost outside. And yeah, it has a very interesting spatial connection. And this is a facade of the building, and it looks a bit different from the inside courtyard. We made a promenade, and where also students can sit down and approach this building. Yeah.
The second project we want to show you is a housing settlement for 50 apartments in a very, very small village in Lower Austria. And actually, during the design process, we decided to call this project Pünktchen and Anton, like the famous children novel, because we developed 2 housing types, and one is a Punkt house, and Misa called it by mistake Pünktchen, so we came up with the name Pünktchen and Anton, and we continued calling the buildings Pünktchen and Anton. Actually, we ordered on the internet the Japanese version. We are quite fascinated by the roof landscape, as you can find it typically in villages in Austria, because of all these pitched roofs which are facing different directions. And we thought we want to take up this theme into our design. And so we decided to choose origami, which has 2 simple folding rules. You have a square piece of paper, and you can either make a mountain fold or a valley fold. And by the combination of these 2 folding methods, you can create all different kinds of origami. In our case, the roof shape. We decided to make 2 typologies, one Punkt house called Pünktchen, which is 3 stories high, on a square base with a diagonal roof. And then Anton, which is a more longish building type, 2 stories high, which has actually 3 mountain folds and 1 valley fold. And because of this diagonal cut, we either have a very low or high point in the facades, which either looks very traditional or you get this V-shape kind of a building. And by this we can achieve this very rural, village-looking roof landscape. Actually, we took Pünktchen and Anton and rotated them slightly and put them on the side. And so we could harmonically introduce this new settlement in the old structure of these slightly shifted houses. Also, we took these buildings and by creating different distances, we could create small streets, but also a square, which is not only used by the inhabitants, but also used by the neighbors in the surrounding. By this slight shift, we think that we create a certain kind of individuality and identity where people can really identify with this building. We think we made a village in the village, which is not a containment, but it's a structural extension and a completion. In the end, we want to invite you to the next exhibition where we also participate, which is in the Architekturzentrum on the 17th of June, here in the Museums Quarter, and we would love to see you there as well. Thank you very much. Good evening. Bye.
Thank you.